Signaturetv, news in your pocket.
Welcome to Global News on Signaturetv. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, Peter Obi joins protesters to demonstrate against Senate attempt to undermine real-time transmission of results. Torrential rain wreaks havoc at Holy Ghost Terminal. Hong Kong pro-democracy tycoon Jimmy Lai gets 20 years jail term. Child among 4 killed in latest Russian missile and drone barrage. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signaturetv, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signaturetv, news in your pocket.
The former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Monday joined hundreds of Nigerians at the National Assembly in Abuja to protest the Senate's amendment of the Electoral Act. A protest tagged Occupy the National Assembly was organized by the Obedient Movement and other pro-democracy groups over the removal of the phrase real time from provisions on the electronic transmission of election results. The Senate last week passed the Electoral Act 2022 Amendment Bill 2026 through third reading. Critics say deleting real time weakens safeguards against manipulation ahead of the 2027 general elections. Although the Senate insists it did not reject electronic transmission outright, protesters argue the amendment leaves room for post-election interference, displaying placards, some of which read, "Our votes must count," and "No to electoral robbery." The demonstrators marched from the Federal Secretariat to the National Assembly. They were, however, stopped by heavily armed security operatives, including the police, the army, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, who were forced to hold the protests outside the complex. Addressing journalists at the protest ground, Obi warned that credible elections remain critical to Nigeria's stability and development.
We are certain that, but we need to address our concerns about this country and the election. What we want is an electoral process that is transparent from beginning to finish. Our demands about the amendment is simple. Let us have an amendment that allows first, let no qualification of people who want to contest the election. And that qualification must be advertised. So if anybody says, I went to this primary school, I went to this secondary school, I went to this university, people are supposed to know about that. And that process has to continue through party primaries and everything. And finally, the election must be transmitted electronically from the polling booth direct. We don't want any point any longer. Let people watch it. That's what is happening in South Africa. That's happening in Ghana. That's happening everywhere. That's what we have suffered before. We don't want any glitch again. Glitch is finished. We want things to come happen. No more glitch.
Other protesters accused lawmakers of undermining democratic reforms and vowed to sustain the demonstrations. until the National Assembly reverses the amendment.